Here we are again, myself, Carol McGee, and the lovely
Debbie Collins.
So we're just going to chat to you about all things that's been going on this week. We thought we'd have a general chat for a change, because we don't normally have a general chat. No. We normally talk about things specific at that time. So in the media just now, and on social media and in the media, it's all going a bit mental, because there's this young boy who's went missing in Tenerife. Mm-hmm. And his name's Jay Slater, and he's only 19, and he's disappeared.
Was that his first time on holiday? No, did I read that?
Oh, I don't know if it's his first time abroad.
I'm sure it said it was his first time abroad.
I can't answer that. I don't know. I never read that. So maybe it was. Anyway, he's only 19. He's only a young boy. And he's went on holiday in Tenerife, and he's just disappeared straight off the face of the planet. And so everybody's been looking for him. It's been all over social media. It's been on the news, quite rightly so. But there is mitigating circumstances to this. Hence, things like...
What does mitigating mean? Is that speculation?
Aye, loads of speculation. You know how sometimes people make up scenarios and stories in their head? Mm-hmm. Well, lots of people all over TikTok, Facebook, other platforms have been making up stories in their head and running with it.
But is it stories in their head?
Well, this is it. Maybe some of them are a wee bit close to the mark.
Because I did read one story, and it was saying that I think people drag everything up for the passport, don't they, when you do anything? What anything happens to you?
Oh, of course.
And it was about him and a gang.
All your skeletons.
All your dirty washing.
All your dirty washing comes out. So first of all, this young 19-year-old boy goes missing in Tenerife on holiday. And so there's a funny story comes out with it. And so the whole... We'll say the whole of the world, because this is now a worldwide story, is invested in this story. Mm-hmm. Where is he? Where did he go to? How did he go missing? And so people, they're having online discussions about this. You know, I've seen loads. And I don't watch the telly, as you know, but my boys come in, and my daughter has come in, and my husband. Did you hear about that boy that's went missing? Did you hear about that boy that's went missing? So I thought this must be something special. Everywhere. Because it is everywhere, right? And I've been seeing it on social media. So I don't know anything about it other than what they tell me when they come in. Mm-hmm. And so the other day I was listening on TikTok, and Adam Locke, who's known on TikTok, was having a discussion, and he had about 1,400 people during the day talking about this young boy that's went missing. And I thought, well, this must be a really big deal, because I've heard my family talking about it, I've heard everybody talking about it. And so I sat and listened for 15 minutes, right? And then I thought, as I'm a psychic medium, as you may know or you may not know, and this is my job to find out where people are, what they're about. And I've helped the police in the past and do different things and look for missing people as well. And so normally I don't ever, as a rule, get involved with anybody that's missing or murdered or anything like that, unless somebody asks me to. And by that I mean a member of their family or friends or something. So as a rule I don't do it, right? But I'm sitting there and I'm listening to everybody. There's like 6 people in a box discussing all the different scenarios, what could have happened to this young boy. And as I'm listening, I thought, do you know what, I'm going to pull out my cards and I'm going to have a wee nosy.
So can you pull out your cards just for anything? There doesn't need to be somebody there asking, right? Interesting.
I can, right, but I've got to tune myself right into spirit. Mm-hmm. And so I don't often do it, because I feel it's unethical unless you're asked.
Yeah,
it's just basically like me being a nosy bastard. Let's don't kid ourselves on here. It's like I meet you and I'm going, I wonder what she's really like. She seems nice, but let's have a look, right? And so I thought, let's have a look.
Never lie.
No, really, no.
Well, mine must have been good, because you're all over me.
I know, but I like people that are different, and you're certainly different, right? But I'm only kidding. So anyway, I pulls out these cards, and I kid you not, and I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it, right? So I'm listening to Adam.
So did you tell them you were doing it?
No, because they don't know I'm there, right? This is the funny side.
Oh, so you weren't on his live chat, you were just snooping?
I was just listening, right? Which is something I don't normally do during the day either, because I'm usually busy or out during the day. And so I'm listening at, I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I pulls out the cards and I thought, well, let's have a nosy, right? And so I just basically put out the spread, sat there, went to turn over the cards, and I kid you not, coincidentally, but is it? I went to turn over the cards, and just as I was about to turn them over, Adam Locke online, it says, do you know what we need, guys? And they're like that. Aye, what is it? Do you know what we absolutely need to do? We need to go and get Carol McGee and get her in here and tell her to have a look at this. And I'm like, oh, and I swear I'm like, fucking hell, man.
Adam's also
is he
psychic.
watching me? And I'm looking for the one. Is there a hidden camera in here somewhere? Do you know what I mean? Is he get spies in the camp? And so he sent me an invite to join
the live.
So I joined the live and I'm laughing and I told him what had happened. I says, Adam, you're not going to believe this. I says, I put out a spread and just as I'm about to look at it, you say, we need Carol McGee in here. I says, is that fucking freaky or is that freaky? And he started laughing and he went, are you joking? And I went, no. He's like, well, what did they say then, right? So I started turning over the cards and I've took a snapshot of them so that I didn't forget, so I could maybe look at it a wee bit deeper. And so I didn't know the full story of what they were saying online. I've only heard wee bits and bobs. I've since heard more, but at the time I'm looking at it. So this was like only maybe 3 or 4 days after the boy had went missing. He's been missing 8 days now.
Initially they said the story that came out, the basic story was he'd went over there to go to some sort of rave, know how these like party things, and he'd went to an after party, and then that was the first kind of story. But then obviously our stuff's come out, but on you go, so if you
and so anyway, I looked at the cards without knowing the full story, right? So I like to make it up my full story. How cards work for me is it's a bit like being back at primary school. Do you remember they used to give you picture cards when you were at primary school and tell you to make up a story?
Aye.
And you were to make up the story, and probably everybody's story in the class was completely different from 3 cards. Well, that's kind of a wee bit what tarot's like. So I'm putting the tarot out. And I'm looking.
It's a wee bit like what social media is like.
Aye, that as well. They make up their own shit, really, don't they? And so I'm looking at these cards, but thank God tarot's no shit. It's absolutely true, and I'm good at what I do. And so I'm looking at these cards, and out comes a story, right? So the story is that he goes up somewhere high, right? Because of these cards. And I'll put up a picture of it maybe later within this podcast as well. He's going up a hill. And he is at that point in fear of his life. Right? As he's going up somewhere high. So as he's travelling, because I'm asking cards, where is he? What's happened to him? So he's going up a hill and he's kind of a wee bit in fear, right? Is what comes out. And I'm also asking in my mind who's around him or who's there. Now, the only person that comes out is a woman.
Oh, interesting.
Right? So, you know, online, if you're watching it online, there's lots of speculation that he was in a house with 2 guys, that foreign people could have taken him away, this could have happened to him, that could have happened to him. The only person that comes out in the spread is a woman.
A female?
Is a female, a young female, right? And as you look at the spread, it says the reason he's disappeared and the reason that he is still missing is all to do with money.
Right.
Loads of money. That's what the reason is, right? So I've got to go with it, because I'm impartial to this. This has nothing to do with me whatsoever. I don't know this boy or any of his family or anything about it. And so...
So were you telling people this when you were on his live?
Aye.
What was coming out in front of you?
So it's in Adam's live.
So see, really, when you did get your cards out and he didn't know you were on the live, would you have just kept that information yourself?
I would have. Right. I wouldn't have said it, although I would have pictured it and I would have photographed it and I would have maybe kept it, right? And so I'm going to ask Adam to download his live as well, right? So the story is, it's all to do with money. Right. And there's a young female involved, right? And as the story goes on, it then transpires into there's people looking for him, there's different stories coming out, and I also asked if where he was and if he would be found, right? But wherever he is, he never, I think he's gone, right? And
as in dead?
As in dead. But also think that he may not have died straight away.
Oh no.
Because as I'm looking at the cards, it says that he is laying somewhere, possibly waiting to die, or death is hanging over him. Right? And then it
Because there
also...
was speculation that he was up the hills coming back for this so-called party and he was dehydrated.
We'll talk about the speculation in a minute, right?
Okay.
So my spread is saying that he is either waiting to die or near death. Right, so this was 3 days into him disappearing, and so death is hanging over him, right? But it also shows that he is then dead because the death card comes out around him. Death doesn't always mean death in tarot.
Aye.
It can be an ending or something like that.
Or a bad illness
And
or
so I feel that this scenario, this whole thing, will not end. He won't be found immediately.
Right.
So I know a lot of people are hoping that he's found immediately. So we're into week 2, right? So we're into week 2. He disappeared on the 16th of June.
Right.
Or he went out on the 16th and he disappeared on the 17th, something like that. And so now we are just over a week later, right? 8 days later. And so he's still not found. So the cards showed me that, right, that he would not be found. Because I'm like, where is he? Is he going to get found? Because you know how sometimes if people go missing, they're found a couple of days later.
Aye.
The cards are telling me that he won't be found. And the cards are, which is turning out to be correct, also shows me that he may not be found for some time.
Right. I'm not being nasty, but would it show you if he was getting found in one piece?
The cards wouldn't show you that, but it would be something that may be coming to your mind. Why just that?
Just because you're saying he won't be found for a while, not how some people maybe get, if people are trying to hide somebody that's passed, they would maybe...
Chop him up?
Aye.
I would hate to think that that would happen to somebody's son or any boy or anything like that. It's just no right. But I know things like that do happen.
So when you're saying, I think it's going to take a long time to find him, he is definitely going to get found.
I think he'll get found, aye, because
in one piece.
I don't know about that. And I thought you'd be reading about other things that's happened in Tenerife that we're going to cover in a wee minute, right? And I don't know if you read that.
Well, did you read up?
No, did you read about other people going missing in Tenerife?
No.
Right, so we'll cover that in a wee minute. So back to Jay. So in my opinion, Jay was not getting found straight away, and that he would be found later. Right. And so there is a lot more to this disappearance than meets the eye. I do think it's got to do with money, and I do think it's got to do with money with a young woman, right? So that's what comes out in the cards. Whether anything else comes out in the media or whether they find this body immediately, then we'll wait and see. Right? But right now we're into day 8, he's still no found, right? So his mum, quite rightly so, has flown out to Tenerife. I've not heard anything because I don't really watch the news. I've not Googled much either. Only what I've kind of heard on social media or my kids are telling me. So his mum's flew out there, but I've not heard anything from her or saw anything from her.
I've seen pictures here and people are being quite mean, obviously, and saying...
I just know name's Debbie.
Is it?
Name's Debbie.
Is it? Oh, well. People have been like that, if that was my son, because I don't know, again, you're just going what people say. So assumingly she's not been out looking for him, and if that was my son, I'd be doing this. There's no a tear in her eye. But then I'm like that. People do say, if that was me, I'd be doing this. If that was me, I just think in any situation, you can't say, I'd be doing this, I'd be doing that, till you're in that situation.
She may have been told to keep quiet and not jeopardise them finding him.
Well, the dad was on the radio yesterday, actually.
All right, okay.
And he said he was kind of slating the Spanish police.
Right, okay.
Saying they're not giving them any information. They're being very unhelpful towards them. He did backtrack and say, look, there is some, they're not all like that, but the ones that we're having to deal with are being murdered, basically. They're not giving us a lot of information. But then I'm like, they've maybe not got a lot of information. And there's a lot of people. I do think nowadays, and it is to do with social media and all that, like when something happens, because it's not just the family. If they appears and they're probably trying to... It was like when that woman went missing, remember, she was
and then
walking
everybody thinks they're psychic. 200 psychics appear. You know, I've got a good reputation, I'm good at what I do, but every now and again when things like that happen, 200 psychics appear. Oh, I know where the body is. I know where the body is.
So that probably pisses the authorities off, because they're like, going to just leave us, we know what we're doing, and you're trampling here, there and everywhere.
Well, the police might be telling them to do nothing and not to step on their toes. So you don't know what's getting said to them. So in circumstances like that, any mammy would be out looking for their Wayne. So it could be that they've been told just to sit on it or wait and see what happens, or, you know, you don't know what's going on behind.
She knows more.
could be because there's things getting said on social media. So again, you don't know if it's true or no true, right? But anyway, it turns out there is a girl involved, right?
Lucy.
Her name's Lucy. Did you read that?
I did hear that.
So it turns out there's
I think she's been arrested.
Has she actually?
I'm not saying 100%. I'm sure I heard that Lucy's been arrested now, so she's not helping in the...
Oh, right, okay. I didn't know that.
I think it was her that done the GoFundMe page, and then I think she has signed it over to the mum, and now she's been arrested, assumingly.
She signed the GoFundMe page over?
Aye, because I think they reached their target. It was like 30k, wasn't it?
Aye, okay.
And so I think they reached it.
So currently there's over £30,000 in a GoFundMe page, and I know that she set that up, which I thought was a wee bit weird as well.
I know.
So
It's a weird budget.
The funny circumstances, there's over 30,000, right? So he was at a festival. So let's just talk about his journey, right? Because I do psychic detective work as well. And so I would like to maybe do a timeline of this and have a look into it myself. So I might spend a wee bit of time on it and see what else comes in. Because the quicker you do it, the better, right? And so he was at a festival. He leaves the festival, probably full of it. You know, he's a 19-year-old boy. He's probably had a good bit to drink. Maybe
he's been mad with it.
He's been mad with it, right? I will say that. He's been mad with it. And then he's been going home and he's like, no, I'm still up for a party. And somebody's invited him to go to their house, their villa, apparently. And so he goes in a taxi up to a villa with two guys.
Middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. Aye. 45-minute taxi ride away from where the festival was.
But is there no like a rule now? Like if we go on, me and my pals, it's like, no, we'll all go home together. Nah,
but
no do that nowadays.
No, that always happens. It does happen, but sometimes people get lost for various reasons.
I suppose.
And so the odd time people do that. But I would, if I was in Tenerife with my pals, I'd be going home with my pals.
Aye, but then if my pal was mad with it, I'd be high charge on.
Exactly. You might be like...
Might be mad with yourself.
Well, you don't know, right? So anyway, he's went up to this villa with two guys in a taxi.
Have they got any proof of this, or is this just what we've heard?
Well, I don't know. Some of this is just hearsay on TikTok, but obviously the police will have proof of this, or maybe they've chased the taxi driver and they've chased the two guys. And the two guys have since returned to Britain, I hear, as well.
Oh, so it was British guys that he's went
I don't know, again, it's still hearsay, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't
but he went on holiday with a couple of people as well, and they've returned.
Right.
You know, and so I kind of heard that he met this girl, Lucy, while he was out there, and he didn't really know her that well. So if that's the case, why the fuck is she setting up a GoFundMe?
Well, I've heard that Lucy was his friend, and she was a mule. Do you know what a mule is?
Yeah.
Friend that doesn't know, it's somebody that smuggles drugs into foreign countries. So assumingly she was a mule and it wasn't her first time doing it. There's like Moroccan people assumingly running these drug runs, right? So she was a mule, and I think she gave him, I think she was saying, I'll half it with you. Say they were getting whatever wage for it, right? So I think she said, I'll half it with you. So the two of them went over, assumingly, and he's had a backpack with half the gear in it, and I think he was maybe to distribute it and get the money. So
hearsay on social media? Hearsay,
obviously, because
so
nobody knows
prove it,
exactly.
So don't know for sure.
So assumingly, he's took half the gear, so they're doing money. So people are saying, so then she's been like, well, we owe these Moroccan geezers the money for their gear, and you've spanked off it. Know what I mean? Don't get high on your own supply and all that. So now, assumingly, that's why she started the GoFundMe page, because now it wasn't to go and search for him.
The money.
But then you do just think, is this one big deal? She's been like, the Moroccan guys, look, mate, he's mad, right? He's took off the gear. I'll get the money together, but hide him away the now.
Well, if that was the case, then he would be in hiding.
Aye.
Right?
Who's to say he's no, but?
I know, but, well, that's what I'm saying.
Your cards.
In my scenario, my card says he's sitting waiting in death, hanging over him.
Even if that was the case, I just think social media and all that grows arms and legs. It was like after Madeleine McCann. It was worldwide. So again, would they be like, fuck, this has went a bit far, fucking get rid of him.
If it turns out to be two Moroccans,
because even if they get their money, it's a bit sus.
If there's two Moroccans holding a guy hostage, they're going to get jail for that regardless, because
I
They've
know.
kidnapped somebody.
That's what I mean. How would they get the money to them? It'd be a bit suspect, wouldn't it?
They're not going to get half the money now, are they? Because of the mammy's got the GoFundMe page.
I know.
GoFundMe funds for this boy. But, you know, what we all need to remember is...
But Morocco living is tight, so $1,000 to them is...
a lot of money.
A lot of money. They would...
Aye.
Know what I mean?
I know, but I think what we all need to do is strip it back. That's somebody's boy. And, you know, because this has happened, and initially it's a wee bit like, oh my God, the boy's missing. And then after that, it was like, hang on a minute.
Well, the first he came out, he was missing just for go. It was as if this 19-year-old boys went missing for a gig. Then there was the other story, which is true. Him and a gang of pals, I think they were maybe 17 or something, had a machete attack on another boy. So people are saying, oh, is that caught up with him? People have been like that. He's going there like a wee hit, basically. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but the other thing is he could have been an innocent bystander. We can't just speculate on that.
Therefore.
I know he went to court, right? But he's a trainee bricklayer, and his company's coming out and said, you know, we know these things are getting said on social media, but this guy is amazing. He's well liked. He isn't a bad boy.
I know, make mistakes.
And so everybody's standing up for him. And if he done something like that as a 17-year-old kid, or he was there with other people, we don't really know the full story about that.
But then again, if that was the case, what's the $30,000 GoFundMe for?
Well, you're saying the speculation is that he's took half the gear or spent the money.
No, but
for
that's
half the
that
gear.
scenario. But before, when people were saying he attacked a boy, him and his friends attacked a boy with a machete and left him in a bad way.
Right, well, that's the thing, right? So
I think we could rule that story out, because then what would the $30,000 be for?
it could just be that they're scamming money, right?
Yeah.
Because there's another scenario online that this has been done before.
Really?
Somebody went missing before and they had a GoFundMe.
Right. What, in Tenerife?
In Tenerife.
Oh.
So currently there's a load of people missing in Tenerife.
Oh, for money?
Well, we don't know if it's for money. It could be for all different reasons, but there's
How have they not been made public?
There was a guy for Renfrew went missing in Tenerife. There was a couple went missing for Tenerife. That's how I thought of you read about this.
No.
Because a man and a woman went missing.
When?
This was a couple of years back. I'm not sure. I need to look into it further. But when I was Googling missing people in Tenerife, there's currently about 12 people that are missing.
Aye.
A child, females, a couple. So what happened is the woman...
Somebody did say to me, oh, don't be going to Tenerife with your wains.
Somebody told me not to go to the holiday.
Because they're doing a lot of, what do you call that, when people steal your kids? Smuggling? Or
Aye.
trafficking?
Mm-hmm. So this is going on in Tenerife, apparently, we don't know, right? So this older couple that went missing, and so they found the woman. That's how I thought earlier on you may have read this.
No.
They found the woman decapitated and her legs spread apart.
What, as in spread apart like 10 to 2, or spread apart, one down that road and one up there? Right. So she's been chopped.
Decapitated. And
what about the man?
They've not found him.
Right.
So there's children went missing, there's teenage boys went missing, there's people went missing in Tenerife all the time, and we're not hearing about this, right? So obviously I've got a few clients whose children have went missing abroad, or whose young adults or young men or young female things have happened to them abroad, and this isn't just unique to Tenerife. India is prolific.
Well,
prolific.
I have
got about 6. I have got about 6 clients where their children have went missing.
Shut up, their children?
Well, at 17, a child really in it. A boy was found allegedly drowned on a beach. He was 31. Is one client. A girl, 17-year-old. I don't know what happened to her. That's a different scenario. She was taken away and raped and murdered, and it's happened to a load of people around the UK. This is prolific. And, you know, it's like, what are the government doing about it? Fuck all is what the government are doing about it. You know, they basically washed their hands of it. And one of my clients is in Ireland, and her daughter went missing, raped and murdered. And she had to...
Where? In a foreign country?
Aye, in India. And she had to get her own lawyer and pay for it, there was no help for her. And so they've had to fundraise for lawyers and stuff like that to take these people to court or to get the police to do something. You know, it's a whole... Anyway, thousands of people around the world go missing. So, back to this young boy in Tenerife. So, the story goes that he gets a taxi up the hill with two guys, right? Stays for a wee while and then says, well, I'm going home. I'm going back to the flat. I need to go home. And so they say, well, there's a bus stop out the road outside.
Aye.
And he goes to get a bus, allegedly, right? Now, apparently he bumped into somebody, and some person in the village, some woman, says to him, there's actually a bus every 10 minutes. So this is what I find super strange. So he meets some woman in the village. She says there's a bus every 10 minutes to Las Americas, right? Which is a 45-minute journey on a bus. If you were to walk it on foot, it would be 11, 12 hours in the searing heat. You would need to be off your fucking rocker to walk that for the top of the mountains in Tenerife.
I think he's been like, I walked into the next bus stop just to kind of, and if I see the bus, I'll flat. But then a bus would have passed you.
A bus would have passed him. Some witness says she passed him walking quickly down a road.
Do you think he was escaping?
Could have been. We don't know.
Because if there's a bus stop outside and you're escaping, you're not going to hang about the bus stop. You're nothing to see quickly. Here.
I know. I don't know why he would have been walking quickly, but a witness said she saw him and he was walking quickly, right? But then if you ever try to walk downhill, no quickly. Have you ever done Humphrey? Your legs up, you're going quickly anyway. I know, but she says he was walking really quick, right? So if it's hot outside, would you walk really quick in the searing heat? No, really. And then again, what time in the morning is this? We reckon it's about 7:30, 8 in the morning. It's still warm in Tenerife, but it's a time of the day where you could walk quickly, right? Because it's no mid-afternoon or anything like that. So anyway, he starts walking for this bus stop, is the last we hear. And then the girl who set up the GoFundMe page, his alleged friend, he apparently phones her.
Yep, I heard
and
that.
Says, I'm really panicking. I've got 1% left in my battery. I'm stuck here. I need a drink of water. I need help. And then that was the last she heard. Right? He says he was walking home. He says he'd missed the bus.
So she said, home. Ping me your whereabouts.
Oh, did she?
So she said, ping me your whereabouts, like your, what do you call that? Your
GPS.
Aye. Then there's a picture that she assumingly received, which so the picture's been screenshotted and it like shows him, like the wee person, no him, just the wee person, or the green, the wee person, and underneath it says Jay.
What?
So if
I didn't see that.
What? Aye, so it says Jay under it.
So what, he left his phone up there and ran down a hill somewhere?
Why does he get himself saved as Jay in his own phone?
Right, so
that would say my location or me. It wouldn't say Jay. Would it?
Okay.
Like if you send me your location, it would say, if you screenshotted and sent me your location.
Oh no, what if she had him saved in her phone under Jay?
But then she said he screenshotted his location, sent her it, but it wouldn't say Jay, and the battery was like, when you looked at the battery percentage, it wasn't doing at 1.
Right, okay, so there's all these things to be answered. If you're telling me she's been arrested, this is probably why, right? So her story is...
She got the last call from...
And she put on her social media page, which has since been deleted apparently, she got the last phone call from him, and she says, where are you? I've got 1%, I'm really worried, and I'm going to walk at home for 11 hours. Fuck off!
I know.
Who works 11 hours in Tenerife? You're just not going to do it. If you've not got any money in your pocket, you're going to jump a taxi, aren't you?
Who's been out partying all night and answers her phone at 7:30 in the morning?
Aye, and walks it for 11 hours with a hangover.
Exactly.
After been at a festival.
No, but even her answering the fucking, she's probably still been at party.
It just doesn't make sense, right? Anyway, the authorities that be pinged his phone, and so the last place it was pinged was down a ravine.
What's a ravine?
A big gorge, some ravine in the hills.
Right.
And so...
And was that nowhere she said he was?
Well, I don't know if it's near where she said he was, but apparently the police were seen round the location looking for this phone.
Right.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Amazing. Oh, right. So, apparently the police were seen round this location like yesterday, looking for this phone. And this is where we're at just now, right? That was the last I could see on social media. But then here comes the conspiracist, right? Like you, that says she said he phoned her, but when she screenshot her phone, it shows that she phoned him. Right? And so she may have just made a mistake there.
Right. But then would you make fucking stupid mistakes like that if you knew?
No, if you're telling the truth.
Aye.
If you're telling the truth, you're telling the truth.
I would just say nothing.
And so, back to the card scenario that shows me
her there,
a young woman involved for money.
So do you think she's went with him?
Something's happened. Something's happened, but they're going to prove this. Are they going to have to prove this? Or the police are going to have to look into this further? And if I was that boy's parents, I would go there shifting heaven and earth to find out what happened to my boy. And do you know how sometimes you just pray to God and think you're wrong? Hope you're wrong. Pray to God that you're wrong. I hope to God, hand on heart, that I'm wrong, because that's somebody's boy.
I know.
Or brother or friend, or regardless of what he's done in the past, that or may not have done in the past.
Aye.
That's somebody's boy. You know.
Do you know what as well? But do you know, I think it's worse in a foreign country, because at least here you'd be on the police's back. You know, they talk the same language. See a language barrier and no getting in for it be doing you nothing. And again, are they a bit lazy with it because
I know, but every one of the cops over there speaks English. You know they do.
I suppose.
You know, especially when trying to get money out of you for partner or something like that.
But then would they be a bit lax because they're like?
So the other thing that I want to say is, apparently as she was speaking to him on the phone, he says he needed water and he didn't know where he was. How can you know where you were, right? By that I mean, if you're going for a bus, you're walking down that main road, aren't you? You wouldn't
and buses would have passed you.
Aye, and cars would have passed you. You are, and people will have dash cams and all that. You are not walking across a terrain that you don't know. You know, you're not walking across a
You'd
strange
probably
country.
find shade and wait for the bus.
Wouldn't you? I know. So it doesn't
And
make
if he was
sense.
walking down the main road where the bus passes, the bus would have seen him, whether it stopped or no. It'd have seen him.
So we're just, you know, people are greedy for money. People make up ways of scamming people. And this could be one big scam. But I hope to God that it's no a case
for a scam.
Killing folk for 30 grand.
People are greedy. What are you even going to do with 30 grand? Like, I'm not being rotten, but then if they're doing it to multiple people.
And then what makes them think they can keep that 30 grand?
I know. That's what makes me think, has she when they were saying they need to pay for the drugs back, has she been like, I'll get you the money back, but you need to just give me a wee bit of time. They've held him hostage. Social media's get involved. It's went fucking tonto.
And the other thing is, the reason that they think that this may be happening, it happened before.
Aye, so what
So it happened before. The same thing happened to some guy, right? 2 Moroccans held him hostage, apparently.
Really?
Over trying to get money for something.
Recently, no?
Well, I don't know if this was last year or something like that, but some guy for the UK get held hostage. The Moroccans were wanting money, phoned up the family and basically says, we've got your boy, we want X amount of money or we're going to kill him.
Right.
And so I think his family flew over there as well, but whoever the boy was managed to escape.
Do you think he was in on it? No?
No, because I think they just took him to try and get
money
off families or something like that.
But they're robbing you in the street in Tenerife. Like my friends, man, they were out
Don't say
walking.
that. I'm going to Tenerife this year.
Well,
I'm
don't be
booked
wearing
up.
your fucking Rolex hen. They took the Rolex right off his wrist, basically.
Did they?
And she was quite upset, saying just fucking give them it, because they all
Well,
just
see, that could have been what happened to that older couple that went missing in Tenerife. They could have been robbed, and they reckon they were robbed. They reckon they were robbed, because I think they were an all right couple. You know, they had money.
Chopped them up,
decapitated.
Just fucking take the watch.
I know, but the thing is, if you can identify somebody who's robbed you,
but they're in the fucking street in gangs. That's what she said. She said they were kind of walking beside them on a nice watch, kind of general chit chat, and there was a group of them. They were all kind of, you know, it's like when you're walking back for dinner. These are all walking kind of a wee bit away.
This was in the middle of Tenerife.
Middle of Tenerife, just
in a busy street.
Aye.
And a gang of people.
So she said, no, a gang, a couple of folk, and as they were walking, she said she kind of turned round and I think they had him in a headlock. But she's like, at first I thought, are they carrying on? Like, he's quite chatty and hingy. And then he's like, no, you're not taking my watch kind of hang. And she's like, just give them the fucking watch. But one's came for here, there. So it's as if they're all watching. Do you know what I mean? Like, as if there probably is a gang on a strip. But I remember we went to Tenerife 10 years ago. And I'm not a big drinker, but I quite like people watching. So I'll go out and I'll go to the clubs and I'll go to the pubs. I'll keep an eye on my pals. But I remember sitting...
She gets leathered, guys. She's keeping herself on for the sake of the camera.
But see, even watching the prosies over there.
What's that prosy?
A prostitute.
Oh,
like on that strip.
Do you
like
watch the prostitutes?
Aye, I'm watching the prosies. I'm watching the pimp, watching the prosies. In Tenerife, on the strip.
Do you know, I must walk about blind in Tenerife because I've been half a dozen times, right?
And I've never approaching you saying you're looking for business?
No. What would a prostitute want to approach me for?
No,
Would
prostitute. Punter.
If prostitutes approached you?
No prostitutes, no. What use would that be? A prostitute? Here, can you count my money in?
Are you trying to say they think you're a prosy?
No, they think you... Oh. That joke went fucking right out of your head. Anyway, I was sitting people watching the prosies blatantly, but you can see their pimp. After a while, you start to see they'll disappear, they'll come back, and then you'll just see a guy walking down. They gave them whatever, who's obviously protecting them, but just feel like you're like, oh, she's linked to him, or they're linked with them. So it's all a gang.
Just quickly off tangent. Do you know where I seen lots of prosies and I couldn't believe it? Benidorm. Really? Oh my God, they were like ants at night. We came out to get a bus to go back to the airport after we'd done my holiday, and I came out and it must have been 12 o'clock just as the pubs and all that are coming out, and there was loads of prostitutes up and down the street. I don't know if anything
the prosies are robbing as well.
Oh, are they?
So Jim goes out for a pint in Tenerife, picks up a prosy and gets his Rolex stole off him in his wallet. Do you think he's going to report that? When his missus goes, where's your watch and your
Jim
wallet?
wouldn't dare report that because if Jim's got a Rolex and a wallet with money in it, how the fuck do I not know about it?
But do you know what I mean? So guys aren't reporting it because they might not want to say, I went with a prosy. Do you know what I mean? So people are
they're quite openly in the streets. They don't care.
So the prosies are robbing them as well, and they're like, oh, you bastard.
Mad. So obviously this is our holiday destinations and all this stuff's going on that we're not aware of. And so I find it quite intimidating now, actually.
So what happened to that guy then? The guy that... Oh, so he got fun, he escaped?
He escaped.
Right.
And so it was his dad that was online telling the story about what happened to him and how he managed to escape. So I don't know if they left him in a
or was it just him? Was there anybody else?
Don't know.
Do you think they target people that thinks get money?
They may target people that thinks get money or jewellery or the usual
look the part
kind of stuff. But the older man and woman, I may look into that a wee bit further just to see how that came about. But that woman's body was found decapitated. Can you imagine our family?
See if your body is found like that abroad, how do you bring it back? Do they...
Same way you bring any other body back.
What, on a, like
in a coffin? Aye.
Yeah. Or can you... Is that no expensive, but...
Doesn't matter, you're going to bring your loved ones home, aren't you? Something happened to one of your kids.
Any money?
Well, you're not bringing them home unless your insurance is paying for it. But I know that's your worst nightmare, is what I think.
Aye. Totally.
And so, fingers crossed, and we hope that this young boy is found. So there's clearly, obviously, a lot more to come out. And if you're telling me this girl's been arrested,
well, I heard she'd been
obviously there's been lies told somewhere. And so we'll just need to wait and watch the story.
It's like the whole Madeleine McCann thing, but
well,
at first when she went missing and then all the speculation, and everybody's like, oh, what did you ever do your spread on that?
Well, you're a spooky bitch.
I know.
So I've only ever done, I've only ever looked into 3 people that's went missing. Right. One was what we've just chatted about, Jay, right? And the other one was Madeleine McCann, right? So this was a few years ago. So Madeleine had been missing for a few years. And again, I don't watch telly, didn't really follow the story, knew she'd be missing. You would need to be hidden away if you didn't know who Madeleine McCann was.
See, the thing is as well, like, I know you're saying hundreds of kids go missing, hundreds of people go missing, which they do. But how come when Madeleine went missing, it was as if
the whole world went like
Aye, because I
meltdown.
remember going to Tam, we were on holiday and I was like, Tam, there's a wee girl missing. She was the same age as, must have been Matt Casey, who's now going to be 20 this year. And that, I think she was 3 at the time.
Well, that would be right, because our daughter was a year older than her, and we went to Praia de la Rouge, where she went missing from, the following week, the following year at the exact same time, which was a bit freaky in itself. And so that's how I've always watched the case.
But then why was it so out there like that?
I don't know. And the weird thing about that is they were given millions of pounds to look for her. Nobody else's kids that's went missing.
What I mean. How come that's happened?
I don't know. And the other thing is, there was politicians that flew over there when she went missing.
But then there was speculation with that as well. People saying
Lots of speculation.
the dad was in with government and people, and they were all a part of pedoing, and he could have probably name dropped a few people that he could have got into bother.
Well,
Again, speculation.
Again, you never know. So back to the Madeleine McCann thing. So I had watched a documentary. There's been several about Madeleine McCann going missing. So I had sat down and watched this. I don't know if it was Netflix maybe, but the Netflix documentary about Madeleine McCann. And I thought, I'm going to sit down and watch this because I don't really know enough about it. And as you were watching this documentary, I think you were led to believe, or guided to believe, that somebody stole her, took her away. And that's kind of the story that's out there, right? And that was what the documentary I watched, that's how that led me to believe, right? So I thought, I'm going to be a nosy bitch. I'm just going to whip out the cards. I know I don't normally, right? But
Don't normally, just every
because
other day.
I know, but every time somebody goes missing, the amount of people that contact me, and sometimes I do work with them and sometimes I don't. Carol, can you look into this? Is there anything you can do to further this? What do you think? And so I get it every single time because I'm well known on social media. And so I thought, off my own back, people were contacting me, and I thought, no, I've not looked into it. I don't like to look into things unless the family asks me. I feel it's none of my business, which is not, right? And so I was sitting myself one night and I thought, do you know what, this was like 3 or 4 years after the event that she'd went missing. So I whips out the cards again. I was sitting at the table. I remember it was about midnight. My memory's shit, as you know, but I remember this. And so again, I took pictures of that, and so I whipped out the cards, right? And as I'm looking at the cards and I'm tuning into spirit at the same time, I'm looking at the scenario, bearing in mind that I've just watched this Netflix documentary like the day before or something like that. So I pulls out the cards and I put my head in the block for about the first time ever. And I had put my thoughts out onto my Facebook page, which has got thousands of followers. And I had been sitting there and somebody asked me, and I says, well, I did, because I told them I was going to do it, and you know, we'll have a live tomorrow and talk about it. Anyway, my wee story, you know, my picture by card story, my tarot story, is that Madeleine was given medication,
right,
and that she went to sleep.
She was given too much medication,
quite possibly. And
was her dad no a doctor or something?
He is a doctor. He's a heart surgeon.
Aye.
And so's the mum as well. He's a cardiologist and she's a doctor as well. I don't know if she's a paediatric doctor or something like that. So they're both doctors. But anyway, so my scenario was that she was on medication, right? And there was medicine involved, and her parents come out in that spread.
You're kidding?
No. Her parents came out in that spread, and no other person came out in that spread.
Just her and the parents?
Just her and the parents. So whatever happened in that scenario, I have no idea, right? But my cards tell me that her parents were involved in whatever happened to her.
So her parents have doped her out because they want a night out?
You can't prove this, but that's what happened, possibly. Aye.
They went a night out. She's OD'd, and they've been like, fuck. But then the thing is, what about the other 2 wee bains they left? Were they doped up? Because surely, or did they even take? Would you know take blood for them?
I'll tell you what happened with the 2 kids. In the documentary, the woman that watched the children while everybody went and looked for Madeleine says that they lifted the twins. Now you've got babies, right? Lifted the twins out the bed, took them
So was
upstairs.
there somebody actually watching the events that night?
No.
Right,
They children were in the room with Madeline when
Right.
Madeline went missing, right? But see, when the parents came back and she started screaming, oh, they've took her, that was the words that came out of her mouth. Oh, they've took her. Don't know where she got that from, but she knew that at that time. She must want a job, right? So, oh, they've took her. So when everybody's about to go running about searching for Madeline, the neighbour up the stair, who was staying in the flat up the stair in the holiday home, come down and says that I'll watch the twins. Right? So that she says they carried the twins up the stairs and they twins never even woke
After
up.
she was screaming, they've took her.
Yes. And so they babies never woke up and were carried up the stair.
You could never leave babies like that.
Right, see if you've got a 2-year-old just turned 2, right?
Aye.
So they twins would have been just under that age. If you lifted your baby out after you'd been screaming in the house and you lifted
But
her out that
also, their
cot,
babies are guaranteed to make some sort of noise. So who's to say when they were out their night out having their meal, what if Madeline woke up for the babies and tried, do you know what I mean? Who leaves their baby? Who does that?
I know, but that's maybe a mistake that they're going to just have to live with for the rest of their
But
life.
then how did the...
And the other thing
Waynes
is,
not wake
I was
up?
talking to a nurse one time and she says, Carol, you need to understand doctors, right? She says, you might not think this, she says, but they do that. They would leave their kids. Now, this is a nurse saying this to me. And so we were having a conversation about this. Anyway, my scenario is that they kids must have quite possibly
Been doped up. Before I gave the Wayne a
because
wee shot of Calpol
that
before a
woman
flight.
said she lifted that child up the stair and that
And it
child never woke up, straight into a bed up the stair.
So did nobody ever test the other 2 kids to see if there was anything in their system?
How weird's that?
But because if there was a mad pedo on the prowl, would they not just been like, yes, 3 for 1, take them all?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
And would it
because that
not
was
have
a
been
wee
easier
baby.
to take a baby? Because if I go into my 4-year-old's room and lift her out her bed, and if I lifted a stranger came in, lifted a 3-4-year-old's going to be like, who are you? What the fuck? They're going to kick off. Mm-hmm. You're walking down the street stealing a 4-year-old, they'd be like, ah! And you'd be like, shut the fuck up. Whereas if you're taking a baby, you could be like, oh, teething or whatever, because that baby's not
Hey, you
talking.
could have put 2 babies in a bag. I'm not trying to be funny.
Well, you could carry 2 babies that are non-verbal
Exactly.
because you'd be like, oh, nightmare, fucking try and get them to sleep a wee. You could explain yourself, whereas if you're stealing a talking 3-4-year-old, they're going to be like, stranger danger. Know what I mean?
I know.
So how not take the babies?
I don't know. Again, we're all just surmising. But apparently the children never woke up. And the other thing that adds to this story is that's how there's so much speculation.
Aye.
Because they brought in Godiva dogs. You know, these dogs are dogs that sniff out dead bodies, right? And when they went into the McCann's flat, they sat down in the corner and indicated that there had been a dead body there.
Right, because did they no sniff out blood in the rental car in the boot?
But they put it down to fluid in the nappies. But fluid in the nappies
But would it not be blood?
Well, they are trained to sniff out dead bodies, and these are used to train finding bodies, people that have died, maybe in mountains and rescue situations, people that are missing, and so they're trained to find dead bodies. And so they sat down in that living room and indicated that there had been a body there. They also sat down at the car and indicated there'd been something there. How the fuck does a dog know that? How does the dog know there's been something in the room and something in the car? And, you know, so they could put it down to the dog's at fault, the dog's fault. But apparently in 100% previous to that, they've never done that before. They've never been wrong before previous to that. And so that's where all the speculation starts churning up. And so now they reckon it's a German guy that took them in.
I did see that.
And so they're putting the blame on him, but they can't actually prove it. And so he was in the area at the time. He was a known paedophile. He had a house across the road. You know, there's all this stuff going on. And it's just pure speculation. I think.
But then again,
case,
if you bring in a sniffer dog and there's a fucking house across the road, would the dog no lead you to that?
Well, again, I think the cops are at fault.
Aye. Well, that's what I was saying with the Jay situation, because I remember when it happened with Madeline, they slipped up a lot, they should have done this, they never cut off the crime scene kind of thing, like there was people entering that room, coming and going repeatedly. It's a bit fucked up, isn't it?
And so after this time, it's unlikely that they'll ever find Madeleine, really. It's unlikely. You know, what are we...
So what did your card say? That she had passed over?
The card said that she has passed and that her mum and dad were the only two people that came out in that spread. There's nobody else came out in that spread. Normally, right, if she had been with her mum and dad, if things had happened, the mum and dad may be present in the spread, but then somebody comes in and steals her, and I would expect to see cards with another man or another woman or a third person or two people or whatever wasn't there. So obviously I can't prove this, but they tend to be pretty accurate.
Fuck's sake.
And so that never came out. So
because did they know wash her wee cuddle cat and all?
Well, I've got kids, you've got kids, right? And so her cuddle cat, when she went missing, her mum washed that. Who the fuck does that?
Nobody.
I mean, as a mammy, we don't do that. And see, as a mammy, you would want to smell your ween,
exactly.
wouldn't you? You would be having that cuddle cat beside you. Never in a million years would you wash that.
Nah.
It would never happen.
You wouldn't wash it anyway.
Because my boy had a wee cover he used to trail everywhere as a toddler. He'd probably been mortified when he sees this. Probably had it when he was 15. That was a joke. But I mean, he used to trail it everywhere. I used to have to wait till he was in a deep sleep to prize that, because it get trailed through puddles. You know what kids are like. Teddies get dragged behind them. I used to have to wait till he was in a deep sleep and try and prize that out of his hands and wash it and dry it and
but then
slip
who
it back
even thinks
in.
of fucking washing anything when their wains went missing? Wouldn't even be washing myself.
But the other thing about that is when they kids went missing, she went to the flat and she shouts, they've took her. How fucking weird is that?
I know.
My first thought would be,
where the fuck?
She's woke up, where
the fuck is she? Up to the babies, the woman up the stairs. Have you seen my Wayne?
You'd be looking around the pool. You'd be looking at the toys.
You'd be waiting the fucking twins.
Wouldn't you? Aye. That would be my first reaction, exact same as yours, which I think's a normal reaction. She's went out, she's away at the swing park or something like that, because that's where the Wayne's heading, or she's away at the pool. Hope she's not away at the pool.
They went would have been waiting regardless, I think. I'd have been screaming like a motherfucker. Plus, if one Wayne's missing, I think I'd have been like, I'm taking nobody's fucking getting they too, because where the fuck's Madeline?
I know as mammies we can...
But again, you don't know what you would do in that situation because you've not been in it.
I know, but would you ever leave your Waynes?
I wouldn't leave my Waynes.
I wouldn't leave my Waynes. I mean, we've went on holiday every year several times.
I just think, why take your Waynes on holiday if you... And even
exactly.
Obviously we're going to Turkey, we've got a wee place. My mum's pal's going over and she says to my mum, oh, tell Debbie and Thomas I'll watch the girls and they can get a wee night out. And my mum's like, they're going on holiday as a family for family time. Like, that was a nice gesture, but I couldn't go a night out even knowing
even when my kids were like 4 and 5, there was sometimes when we had a wee cheap buggy on holiday with us just because we knew they were going to be knackered. And so you just pop your way in that anyway and then go to sleep lying them back. Exactly. And so I'm not drinking anyway, but even if Jim was drinking and I had my kids there, they were beside us and we went home at 12 o'clock. That was a late night because we're on holiday type thing. And I think that's what the majority of people do, but I understand that there may be occasions when people might leave their Waynes to go to sleep. But
to walk... I would even understand if it was an apartment block and at the bottom of that apartment block there's a wee restaurant, you're like, Mom, we'll not do that. I wouldn't do that. I don't even leave my Waynes sleeping up the stairs in my villa, and I'll at a time put them in the living room on the couch where I can hear them if I'm going to be sitting outside, even though it's our own place cordoned off.
No, I'd leave them in the bedroom right enough if I was in the house.
When they're walking, I don't, because I'm like,
are younger, if we couldn't get out and my Waynes are tired, we're sat on the balcony or sat in the patio or sat wherever.
Well, I just say to Tam, well, if they're up that stairs sleeping, who's to say, one, they're not going to fall down the stairs when they wake up disorientated, and there's pools about.
Exactly.
Why would even she go like that? We'll just leave them in. I'm
presuming the babies were in cots.
I know, but still, that Madeline could wake up, oh, where's my mum and dad? Go down disorientated right into a pool.
I know.
Like, you just wouldn't.
I know.
I just don't get it. You
mental.
wouldn't?
So anyway, we're only surmising about that as well, so we don't really know what happened to her.
And say, know how you said, I was talking to a nurse and she says to me, doctors would, what does she mean by that?
Well, she says they're quite lackadaisical when it comes to looking after. I don't mean all doctors, right?
Obviously.
But she says, Carol, doctors act like that. She's like, although they're doctors and they're highly educated, she
Well,
says
they say that some people that are highly educated have got no common sense.
A lot of the time they've not got common sense and they would behave like that. And that's what a nurse said to me. She says, you need to understand doctors to know where I'm coming from. She says there's a lot of them like that.
That's not right.
And I went, okay.
I mean, there was a group of them.
I know.
Take a night off each.
But again, that's where social media and speculation all comes in, you know. So
I still think 20 years ago that was she went missing then. No, because Casey's 20.
No,
so
I think Holland's about 3. Aye, maybe
17
18
years ago, right?
Aye.
I wouldn't say social media was that big then. Because when Casey was born, we never had Facebook. We had Bebo. It just started it. I never even had Bebo. I never even had a laptop or anything because you know everybody did.
We did.
So obviously you did extra. So I wouldn't say even when that happened with Madeleine McCann, like I can understand the new with that wee J because everything you've got TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everybody becomes a news reporter to get their socials up, visits the site. Whereas see back then when it was Madeleine McCann, there wasn't really anything like that. There wasn't. It wasn't as big.
It was kind of just starting off.
Aye.
You know, it was starting
but then
off,
that was wild how it was worldwide. Because then I remember the wee boy that went missing and the mum still talks about him. I actually remember, what was I watching her on no that long ago? And
what wee boy?
Can't remember what country they were in, but they were at the Grands in the farmhouse.
Was it the blonde hair? The wee boy with the blonde hair?
Ben's ringing a bell.
That was in Kos or something. That was one of the Greek
so it was
islands.
like the Gran. Aye, it was like the Gran had like a kind of farmhouse.
They never found out what happened to him either.
Never found him out.
No.
But like I remember watching the mum and she was saying. But then speculation with that was you had the gypsies kind of travelling through like the foreign gypsy kind of style people that would maybe have picked him up if he'd been out in the field playing. But how come there wasn't a big sheet? And that's what she was on when I can't remember if it was this morning or fucking something. And she was saying they never really helped us look for him kind of thing. So how no? I think it was actually no long after Madeleine McCann, she was speaking out as well saying, how come all this up when my son's missing, he's still missing, like...
So do you think it's because they were doctors and they were high profile doctors? Like he was a heart surgeon and she's a paediatric or something?
At the time, right? So like you said, there was Parliament and people like that getting involved, right? All going over or whatever it was.
She went missing and politicians flew over there.
Right, so assumingly one of the thingies was her dad was in about some sort of ring his cell, right?
All right.
And with well-known people,
the
quite
other
high
thing
up
is
people.
His credit card was used to access some dodgy sites.
Well, exactly.
Right? And he said that when it was stolen, it was missing.
Right, okay. So... at the time, people were saying people were flying over, people with high rankings, and it was as if he was in part of a group and they were all shitting at, thinking, if he's getting looked into, are we going to get fun out?
Again, that's speculation.
Aye, speculation.
But he was involved with some people years ago that's since been done and prosecuted for certain things.
What, paedophilia? Well, if he's been in some sort
of... a football team.
Right, well, if he's been in some sort of cult, gang, whatever you want to call it, group, with quite high-ranking people, they've probably been like, oh, fuck, what if they start looking into him? Are they going to start looking into us? What's he going to say? And I think that's how they all kind of got on board. Do you know what I mean? Just to
could have been
cover their own back.
But do you think Madeleine McCann's ever getting found?
No.
Highly unlikely.
No.
Highly unlikely.
I think what you're saying is right. If you'd said to me before you told me what your card said, I thought, and look, that my pals, I've read the mum's book and I hang here, but then that's one side of the story. But then again, I could read the mum's book and go, do you know what?
Well, I've not read any books, right? So
I do think they've doped the wains up to get a night out.
Aye, but there's a difference between doping them up to get a night out and disappearing my body, or have they made mistakes?
But two professionals, like you say, right, dope their wains up to go a night out. They've still got two wains alive when they come back, and they've probably fuck, what do we do here? Right, we either phone the police, we're getting fucking done for murder, we've got 2 Waynes there, or just need to take one for the team, get rid of her, we've still got 2, make out she went missing, carry on as normal.
Well, see, the red flag, 2 red flags for me. The biggest red flags for me is 1, she washed the toy.
No, you don't do that.
Right? And 2, as they ran back from the restaurant, the words coming out of her mouth was, they have stole her.
They've took her.
So how does she know that? My first thought would have been, she's woke up and disappeared out this flat.
Exactly.
That would have been my first thought.
Shouting for the balcony, check the pools, check the whatever. And I would take my eyes off my 2 Waynes.
That at some point in the future...
Because did they not say as well, at one point there was speculation that the balcony door was opened a wee bit, and when she's went in, noticed Madeline was missing, somebody was hiding in the cupboard.
Well, the other things is they took turns each of going to check the Waynes, and it wasn't them that last checked the Wayne.
The Wayne, exactly.
It was their colleague.
So who was to say she wasn't missing that time?
But the other thing is, you and Tam are sitting at the corner in a restaurant having a meal. Would you say to the guy sitting next to you, can go and check my Waynes?
But what I think's happening is me and you're out for a meal with Tam and Jim on holiday. Your Waynes are in your room, and I'm going, Carol, it's your turn, hen, go and check all the Waynes.
Aye, I would do that.
So you'd go and check in case Candy Clancy, Holly, Brian come back. All the Waynes are still there, order dessert. Do you know what I mean? Then I'd be like, it's my shot. Whereas I'd be like, fuck this, go and get the Waynes, get a double fucking buggy. They're on holiday.
Well, what you could have done was went and sat in the balcony and took your pals with you.
Know what I mean? Fucking take
4 plastic.
You're on a family holiday.
4 plastic
I'd be too para to do that because Tam would. I'd be like, Tam.
Do you know what? I'm not trying to be funny, right? Even if I was to date, which I absolutely wouldn't, my husband would be like, "Are you fuck?"
Exactly. And again, you know me with anxiety.
We're staying
I'd be like, Tam. All the people, every cunt's looking at us because they've seen us at the pool the day with 3 Waynes and they're all going like that. Where's their fucking Waynes?
And the other thing is, I don't know about you, but I would never trust a babysitter. I know how you go to the abroad and you
can't trust MD these days.
You wouldn't trust MD. So if you wouldn't even trust
people
a babysitter...
People are fucking raping their own siblings. You can't trust fucking MD with your Waynes. If I'm on holiday, my Waynes on holiday. It's a fucking family holiday.
I know.
I'm not going out, and if there's a crowd meeting for drinks or whatever... You'd be like, right, somebody's going to need to take one for the team tonight. Carol, me and Tam want a wee night out. Can you watch all the Waynes tonight and we'll watch them all tomorrow?
I can't be taking one for the team.
But do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like, would you even enjoy your meal knowing your Waynes are up there like that? I couldn't even have a drink because I'd be like, what if something happens to the Waynes?
So anyway, I hope they find her one day in the future. Highly unlikely, but we can't hope.
Did they do a lie detector?
No.
See, I'd be like that when people start speculating.
Do you remember Jeremy Kyle? Sure,
love Jeremy.
I don't remember Jezza. But the whole thing is, everybody in the UK is like, get them on Jezza, get them to do a lie detector. And it never happened. But the thing is, see if my Wayne was missing and everybody was thinking it was me, I'd be like, get the lie detector out.
Exactly.
Put me on camera, because that way it would take it away without a fucking doubt. Because
imagine it came back, you're liable.
I know, can you imagine?
Awkward. But I did I fucking do it? Did I have too many sangrias? Fuck's sake.
I know, but you know, it's like one way to put it to bed, really, isn't it, in front of the public? Like, it wasn't actually me, I never done it, you know. But I hope that one day all the truth comes out. That's all we can hope for. And I hope, for the sake of Jay's family, that he is hiding somewhere and they have done it for the money, and that he pops out a wee cupboard somewhere and says, surprise.
And then your career's
Sorry,
over.
guys.
You're a shite sidekick.
My career's over and I'm a shite sidekick. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Anyway, guys, thanks very much for joining us today. Maybe Jay will be found. Hopefully at some point pretty soon, and hopefully the truth will come out one day about Madeleine McCann as well. So thanks very much for listening to myself and
Debbie Collins. Thanks, everyone.
And Debbie Collins. Thanks very much.